the text was very accurate. So it's kind of connection of buzzwords, but nothing particularly relevant. But then it also gave me some mid-journey created pictures, which, as you can see, seem a little bit creepy. So I guess we are not there yet. So as an IT manager, or in general, as a manager, if you want to create some presentation with AI, or you think that it's going to do the presentation for you, we still need some time for that. But again, you can edit those presentation and you can have some baseline for your pitch deck for investors or for some internal meeting. Okay, in terms of the IT manager, I used to manage like not that many, but 20, 25 people and different developers. And it was nice because I like people and I like inspiring people and empowering people. But on the other side, there's a very tiny line between you being a good leader, being a good coach, and being a manager that has to overwatch their work. And it was quite difficult because when you scale, you have more people to handle. You want to make sure that they do their work, they do proper reporting, and you have things under control. And that doesn't happen always. So sometimes you just need to fix issues and you need to think how I can somehow replace myself, because all of us, even on this call, are some sort of leaders and coaches for our teams and for the people we manage. And we would love to spend more time with them on valuable stuff like advising, coaching, mentoring, not like micromanaging on just confirming some meetings. It's pointless. We don't want to do that. Like the less administrative work we do, the better. And that's why I started using different AI tools. Again, my idea is that the time is the most valuable asset all of us have. And if we spend too much of this time on micromanagement or doing some, I wouldn't call it stupid, but boring, repetitive tasks just to make sure that the team is functioning like a very well-oiled machine, we don't get this time back. And all of us can spend the time wisely on something totally different. So the question is how we can make more time. And again, I'm a big fan of automation, data management, and decision-making process, because to manage people and to also somehow delegate tasks, we need to have proper data management or knowledge base. For example, at YoCode, we have Confluence, where we store all of our lessons, where we have standard operating procedures. It's like a huge playbook for everyone in the organization. And every time we do something new, we want to share it with the team members, with our people, so they are up to date. So for example, I don't have to repeat some stuff during the meeting because it's already in the knowledge base and everyone can handle this and everyone can reach those information and learn from, I don't know, my mistakes or my thoughts. But again, to do that, you need to give them some sort of interface, which is automation, like a chatbot, which can analyze our data, our PDFs, our Confluence stuff, and our people can then just ask the question to the chatbot and it gives them the answer. So they also won't get lost in diving into multiple documents, because if you have many documents, for some people it's super confusing. That's why we have the rise of AI chatbots. Everyone wants to have one simple window where she or he types the question and gets instant answer. And with the right data management, for example, at YoCode, we move everything to Airtable. And it's super powerful. You can set up so many automations and you can create different views for different team members, also teams, because this is one single point of truth. So we know how digitalized is our company, and every single number, every single action is somehow recorded, and different people, different teams have access to that. And based on that, they can make good decisions. For example, whom to hire, or is this lead potential clients or not, or shall we invest extra money into business development or more into hiring? But again, it's all unified in one database we have in, for example, Airtable, and then we use those data to make management decisions. And there are some little tricks that we introduced every single week, like this one. You have the message between our lawyer and our client, and we have automation that sends the summary of this message to Slack. We have a separate Slack channel for our contracts, and it's easy. And then all of us who are involved into the process of legal creation or offer creation, contract creation, all of us have access to the current statuses. We don't have to go through the long threads, but we have the summary of that. And we have one person right now, Kuba. Kuba is our automation manager. So this guy goes to every one of us and asks, okay, show me your process, show me how you work, and I will give you some clues how we can make it faster, better, and make you more happy. So the role of Kuba, or the goal of Kuba, is to make time for our employees with automations. And we use Zapier, we use Power Apps, we use different tools that are being called AI right now, and to make our work more efficient and not being busyful if necessary. So the tool number one, it's ChatGPT. So it's quite, I mean, for me, fascinating how it has changed for the last years. And suddenly programmers, and I see a lot of them, they stopped using Stack Overflow on YouTube. They go to ChatGPT because they get accurate answers for their questions. And we've been using ChatGPT at Leo Code recently, and it has very positive impact on people because, again, they don't do repetitive tasks that much. They can create different stuff. I'll give you some examples. Of course, again, being lazy, I asked ChatGPT how to become 10x developer with AI, and it crashed a few times. So I don't know, maybe my question wasn't accurate, or maybe there was some issue with this chat. But I finally got to the point where I could create some examples for you. So in this case, I'm building an Express API using Node.js. Can you give me a boilerplate for an API? So if you ask that question, you can already generate quite a lot of code, which is useful. Of course, you have to be able to read it and double check. That's your role, to be an Overwatch, if that's correct. But again, you don't have to type it. So ChatGPT can give you pieces of code that you can reuse, and it can speed up your work quite a lot and also improve your productivity. The next example is refactoring. So this is quite challenging for many developers. If you give them some old code and ask them for refactoring, people don't like legacy code. But with the power of chatbot, ChatGPT, we can make some refactoring. But what you can see right now is also that it explains what it did for this specific case. How was this refactoring done? So you as a developer, you can double check if the way of thinking of the chatbot is correct. If it's not, you will definitely write your own code. But if it's correct, you can even learn from the ChatGPT. So that's quite critical to consider. Another example is that we can create a test cases. So sometimes there is an issue that you don't have QA, or some developers just don't like writing tests just because they don't have that preference. And you can use chatbot to write test cases for yourself. So just using one simple command or just typing the code, it will compile test cases for you. And again, it gives you some explanation how it understands this case scenarios, how it was made. So you can say, oh, that's nice, or no, I disagree. And again, you can still disagree with ChatGPT because it's a learning machine. So if you give like a feedback to ChatGPT, it might give you a different response. So it's quite funny when you start argumenting with machine. And of course, you also can convince the machine that what you're saying is true, even if it's a lie. That's another case to talk to. Of course, some people, some developers I talk to, they're like, yeah, but this is just copying and pasting. But I guess most of the work, at least the basic one, is about copying and pasting and using someone's work. That's why we've created open source. That's why we've created basic libraries to reuse the components, reuse the code. And there's no point to write the code from scratch. Yeah, the whole idea of having the AI chatbots is to get rid of stress. So again, people can focus on more meaningful work, and people can do the stuff they like, and they can put more attention to real programming, not only pure coding. And this one is fantastic. I've been in so many projects where someone complained, but there is no documentation, and then whom to blame? You always blame the previous crew who did the project. But right now with ChatGPT and some extensions, the documentation can be written automatically. So enough of complaining there's no documentation because someone didn't do it or someone didn't want it. It's time to use this documentation, use this tool to create the documentation. Again, give time to your people. So by using the ChatGPT and all of those extensions and different tools that are built on top of that, you give people time. Because I don't know if you've seen the research, but many of IT people in the software development, they have burnout issues and they are super stressed because they have a lot of responsibilities because of the pressure. Because everyone wants to do the software, everyone wants to do it fast and in good, elegant way. So we need to use those tools to give those people time so they are less stressed and they have more space for conceptual thinking and also for being more creative while coding. So again, I don't want to have coders. I want to have people who use those tools and can do work faster, can have more time for some good meetings to discuss stuff. Tools number 2, meetings are toxic. This comes from my favorite 37 Signals blog and the book called Tree Work. You probably read the book or seen it. And as managers, when we look into our calendars, it's full of meetings, whether there are some internal or external meetings. And every time you have to do something inside the meeting, take some notes, or after the meeting, make some summary. And again, it takes time. And sometimes you have one meeting, then 5-minute break, another meeting, and you're not able to do all of that. And then you're missing the communication, because if you don't pass some information from the meeting to your team, they can blame you that they didn't hear that, they didn't say that, and it's not about that. That's why and the 37 Signal have run the perfect campaign about meetings. If you go to their YouTube channel, you will see the campaign, Just Let Me Do My Job. It's a wonderful campaign, but they also run a second perfect campaign, Send Your Boss to Hell.com. There's an island called Hell, and basically what you can do, you can send your own boss, you type your own name, like an email address, and you can be chosen to send your boss for 2 weeks holiday for the one reason. So your boss won't interrupt you, your boss won't create any meetings for you. So you will be able to do your own job. And this is what we are doing here with automation. We are creating space for doing people's job, not for meeting. So I use this tool, which I present in a minute, where you can, there are different tools like that. So they're already incorporated into Google Teams, Microsoft Teams, and also Google Hangout. So you can make transcripts. But with the power of automation, you can also make some takeaways automatically, highlights. So first of all, you see who said what and how people were contributing to the whole meeting conversation. You might realize that you have 10 people on the meeting and suddenly 2 of them said nothing, which obviously goes to the point where you ask the question, okay, what's the purpose of those guys being on that meeting? Are they just listening or they have nothing to say? But you have transparency of all meetings. So you can manage the future meeting way better based on the previous transcripts, takeaways, and notes. And you can also automatically create some sort of summaries for the meeting and tasks assigned to every individual who joined the meeting. So this is quite powerful. Second tool I use as well is called Tactic. So it does quite similar stuff. So it's a Chrome extension. very straightforward. You install the Chrome extension. They have like 10 meetings for free. And you have transcripts and it recognizes voices. So it knows who said what. And if there are some action-driven sentences like, let's do the following, it recognizes that this is the action item I will put at the end of the call. So when you finish the call, you already have a list of like maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 follow-ups. So you can just pick ones that apply to your conversation. And then you split it among the team members who joined the meeting. So yeah, Autopilot is a good assistant that can record all of this. You can give it a try. It's a very useful tool. And for me personally, I record most of my meetings right now and make transcripts, because then it's super easy to communicate. And there is no situation like I've been multiple times before, like, I didn't say that, you said that. So we start arguing. And with the transcription, with summaries, with notes, we have clear outcome of the meeting. Everyone is on the same page, so there is no confusion. And again, it doesn't have to be done by human, because many people just hate making notes after the meeting and making those long summaries, but it helps. So, so that's the tool. And one very good book I would recommend you probably know this as well, it's Deep Work, How to Focus. We are full of distractors as managers, and we are full of others people job. That's what they mean by that. So I have my own agenda. So for example, I schedule like 60% of my time next week for myself only, but then I get constantly distracted because some people need help. Some people need some sort of explanation. And my idea is that I need to go to those guys, but yet I need to do my own work. So how can I replicate myself? How can they use my brain without me? And we will go to this in a minute, because this one is I guess, mind blowing. Last thing is that I've seen many AI tools that make better meeting experience by scheduling your meetings with your audience. I mean, with employees or with your potential clients. But I have completely different idea. What if we can create, maybe you know something like that, so please post it in the comment. What if we create anti-Calendly? So basically the AI tool that removes meetings from your agenda. So for example, it connects to your Google account or Microsoft account, and it tells you that this meeting has no value for you. You can be informed by email with this meeting outcome. You don't have to be there. So if you have such tools, please share. I still haven't done my research, but if I won't find that tool, it's like a remover of meetings, or the tool that prioritizes my meetings and tells me, Damian, don't go there. Like, that's pointless. Don't waste your time. I will pay. So if you know such tool, please send it in comments. If not, I will build it for you. Because again, all things I'm saying today and AI, it's all about removing distractions and making more time for you to focus on more relevant stuff. So the tool number 3 is assistant. So we need assistants who or which can do something for us. So friends of mine, Grzesiek Kruk and Adam Gospodarczyk, they've created, it's almost that I tested this last week, because they are launching in like week or two, AI assistant that gets things done for MacBook. And the idea is that it doesn't only give you answers like ChatGPT, because when you ask ChatGPT about something, it gives you tons of text, might give you some pictures, but this AI assistant does the work for you. So you can connect it with your API to different tools, and you just type an order, send the email to my client. And first of all, it can transfer your voice into the text and then send it to clients, or upload my video to the YouTube, and it can do that. So it's a perfect case of someone who can do the basic work for you, so you don't have to do it. And you can create your most repetitive tasks and just make sure that your personal Jarvis, like a Monday, do the work for you. And some of those tasks, like I need to send report to CTO every single Monday at 3 p.m. from my CRM. It can be done automatically. You don't have to log into CRM. You just have to put the workflow, you have to put the rule, and then it does it for you. So if you carefully go through your daily life, like a weekly life, and then you map your processes on workflows, you can, I'm pretty sure you can automate at least 30% of your time right now with those tools. Okay, but there is something called like a chat base. And I know that plenty of you and many of companies you work in have some knowledge bases. Again, either on Confluence or in some PDFs or Google Drives, and you can use AI for that. So you learn the chat base to be your assistant. So it dives into the content you have. So you give the URL, for example, for your website, or you give URL to your Google Drive, and it analyzes your data and gives you chatbot-like experience. So basically, it's super convenient because you don't have to scroll, you don't have to go through multiple sources of knowledge. What you have to do is that you use this chatbot for being your personal assistant. So for example, Salesforce introduced Einstein, which is like AI assistant for productivity, and it analyzes your Salesforce, it analyzes your sales and marketing data, and it gives you input. So you can get your work done faster. And what's very critical and very good is that it learns very fast. But this is the most important part. Garbage in, garbage out. If you had wrong data and you have bad information, you will have bad outcomes for that. So you have to be careful about the data, because if your data are very messy or you have something inappropriate, this is what the chatbot will do, and this is what it will learn. All right, I recommend this book. It's called The Second Brain book, because it can teach you how to remember anything and how to make sure that your knowledge is properly stored. I have my Second Brain book in my library, but my Second Brain is stored on Notion, which I can present later on. There's this fantastic website called There is an AI for that. So if you go to this website, you can easily find the AI that can do the work for you. And and it's all about the needs you have. So if you want to use some automation for marketing, or use some automation for sales, you just type sales. Again, I try to use IT management as a keyword here, and as you can see, it gave me multiple examples of different tools which are quite relevant. So I can play with those tools on a weekly basis and see which of those tools fits me best for my IT management. And I have a twin brother, and he recently asked me, okay, I need a website where I can build something for the legal industry, because I'm a lawyer, I have my own legal company. Could you help me with that? Can your developers help me? And I was like, yes, of course, but it doesn't make sense. You can build your website in 30 seconds using artificial intelligence. So with this durable website, we were able to create it very fast. And then the only thing he had to do was to customize the experience, the content. And I also recently received a question from one of our clients that, guys, could you build me MVP, because someone just gave me quote for like 20k euro, and it's quite a lot for my MVP. And I've been playing with this one. So it's called Flutterflow. So you have ready to go components and you can use it to build your app. And what was quite funny, one of our developer, he spent 2 evenings and he almost did the app that some people said it's gonna take like 20k euro and a month of work. So of course the question is, what happens now? How this AI will influence the future and companies we work with? Then I went into some research and also talked to some guys from Y Combinator, and the number of companies that are using generative AI is exploding, because it's not that difficult to create those tools, because you have existing grounds, you have some databases, you have some API layers, and you have half-produced solutions. So you don't have to be software engineer to build AI startups or AI solutions. You just have to go through some no-code lessons to understand how it works, how you can click through those tools, and then how you can use it. So if you are interested in AI and applying AI to your daily work as an IT manager, first of all, I guess map your week. Start on Monday and see how you work. What are the processes you do constantly? Something that you repeat, or something that is very simple, or something that you don't like, because some processes, I don't know, you like sending messages on Slacks, you don't want to automate it. For example, you want to announce that we want the client and you want to personalize that with some nice GIF or something, and that's fine. Of course, you can automate that if the status of the lead changes to client, then there is some automation notification which goes to your Slack account. But maybe you don't want to have that. Again, you need to ask yourself the question about what's the process that slightly pisses me off. I don't want to do it. It's annoying. It's stressing me. For that can help me. Sorry. Oops. And then you should create some sort of flow, because every process, every activity consists of different steps. So you have step 1, step 2, step 3, and you can draw those steps with Draw.io, because then you have the process, the workflow you want to automate with AI. And the last part is find an AI tool and try to automate that process, because it requires testing. It requires double checking if the process or the AI tool covers all edge cases, and you need to enjoy it. So at the end of the day, you need to see the impact of the AI tool applied, and you need to make sure that it definitely helps you and not bothers you, because some people I know, they test like 5-10 AI tools every single week, and they get confused because they have installed like tons of extensions for the Chrome account browser, and they get lost because they are not able to focus. Again, we are making time here. We are making time and space to do less. That's why you shouldn't use, in my opinion, more than 4 or 5 tools at once, especially in the beginning, because you need to get familiar with the tools. You need to adapt them to your daily routine and make sure that these tools are suitable to you and that they don't bother you. Again, find time to make more time to do that, because all of us are quite busy. We have more and more tasks to do, and managing people isn't an easy stuff. But to do that, you need to allocate some time. So for example, I personally have 3 slots per week, each hour, 1 hour each, for, I call it digitalization time. So during that time, during that digitalization, I first of all, I extend my knowledge base and make sure that it is up to date, and I have some new inputs to my second brain, because then I know that it might be valuable to my team member or to me. And the secondly, I use different tools I play with, because then I can do the work as I want. Last but not least, delegate, replicate, create. So by delegation, I mean, if there is something that you don't have to do and you don't want to do, give it to someone. And also make sure that you teach people how to use those tools, because it's not only about you as an IT manager to use those tools and becoming some automation manager, but it's also about being an example to people. For you personally, it's about replicating the way you think, the way you make things. So sometimes you can teach a human to do your work and delegate that stuff. Sometimes you can teach the machine, the chatbot to do, or assistant to do the work. And make sure that you create those workflows, because with creation, you're able to see results very instantly. And if you're interested, I will share this ChatGPT Business Crash Course playbook. I found it like a month ago, and it's one of the most comprehensive I've seen, and it gives very nice examples how to use the ChatGPT for business in many angles. And I guess you definitely gonna like it, because I use like 10% of what they already have in the playbook. And every week I add something new. So my goal for me and Leo Code personally is to, again, once come to the company and see that this company works on an autopilot, at least 80%. That would be the perfect scenario I would love to have. But again, it requires some testing of tools. It requires teaching people how to use those tools and making sure that they feel comfortable, that they have more bots, maybe less human. But at the end of the day, everyone is informed and up to date about what's going on in the company, what are the processes, what are also the decisions. And I would love to also invite you to this newsletter I've joined like a few months ago. You probably need a robot. It's a super nice community for people who are making 10 times more with AI. And every week you can see some examples of nice tools and also problems that this tool solve for you. That's it. Sometimes after using too much AI, this is how I feel. So it might be overwhelming because you need to dive into different tools, you need to go into different instructions. They not all work as expected, but this is what we want to achieve. We want to get rid of being tired, being stressed, and having feeling that we didn't spend enough time with our team members or people we work with. So the main idea is, again, to earn some time. And last but not least, if you have some sort of challenge or some idea how to use AI at your company or corporations, but you would love to have some guidelines, feel free to reach me. I'll be super happy to, first of all, share our stories, how we went from non-digital to super digitalized company. But secondly, I love being challenged by different edge cases or different situations. So if you give me example of something that doesn't work at your company as it should, and you want to automate it and you want to find some tool that can do the work for you, just let me know. I also have in plans to create my own library of AI tools, but mainly based on problems they are solving. So there will be like a library where you solve the problem, where you specify the problem, we have solutions for that, and we have AI and also some playbook for the specific AI, how to use it in this specific context. So thank you. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach me on LinkedIn or send me a message. This is my email address. I'll be super happy to help you, and also super happy to give you some piece of advice. I'm pretty sure there is something that bothers you, something that you would love to improve and also become more productive, as this was the topic of today's show. So let me know. The more specific you are, the more specific I can help. And I hope you enjoyed those examples. And if you would love to get this presentation with some examples and links attached, I will be super happy to share it with you. Thank you. Are there any questions? Everyone is like living. So is there any question? I mean, no questions. Guys, thank you one more time. Feel free to send me some message. Let's take it from there. Again, I'll be happy to give you one tool per week. I was also thinking about the newsletter, 52 AI tools. So one tool per week, which is enough for you to test and play with. And at some point you can create your own toolbox. You can create your own environment where you use AI tools and they help you on a daily basis. So namaste. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. Thank you very much.